Can't get enough of Team Pete? Well, you've come to the right place, as each week I interview supporters of Pete Buttigieg, former candidate for President of the United States and current Secretary of Transportation. Hear their personal stories about why they became part of Team Pete and how they started a movement. Join us as we talk Pete, politics, and anything in between. Hello, everyone. My name is Kim Ang, and I'm the host of this podcast called Talking with Team Pete. And my special guest here today is Michael. Hi, Michael. How are you?
Hi, Kim. I'm doing good. And you?
Good, doing good. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how you got involved in with Team Pete?
Well, I live in LA,
Mhm.
Canadian transplant. Live in California for almost 25 years now.
Mm.
Always been interested in politics. But Pete was the first candidate that I actually volunteered to campaign for actively. So,
Mhm.
yes, it's Pete was kind of a different kind of politician, I guess. It really drove me in.
Yeah, I think a lot of our stories are very similar in how we got involved in Team Pete. I keep hearing kind of the same story from people.
Hmm.
Um, and so, what was it about him that really intrigued you?
Um, so I think it's like Pete said. I guess it's just uh, running for president. I guess you have to think that there's a window where you are the right candidate for the right time. So I
Hmm.
think part of what drew me into Pete is he was well, number one, he was an unknown candidate to me.
Right.
I said
I think to most of the,
the
yeah,
mayor of which town?
you're,
South
yeah,
Bend.
right, right.
If it wasn't for my interest in college football, I probably would not have known where even South Bend is. But since the Irish is there,
Hmm.
and I'm a USC Trojan fan, so I know the Irish very well in South Bend.
Mm.
Obviously through the football connection,
Hmm.
but I think Pete, yeah, he's just a very inspiring and very um, candidate. And even though it's it's a big leap to go from mayor of South Bend to the national stage.
Hmm.
I think he really shocked the political world how far he went. And
Yeah.
having won the Iowa caucuses, obviously, we were all there.
Hmm.
Um, Having a huge success on the campaign trail, being a top tier candidate. So it's yeah, his story was very inspirational, and his message obviously drew a lot of us in, and a lot of people in general. Yeah.
Yeah, what was your initial thought when you heard about him? Because I didn't know that he was even running until Mary told me, "Hey, there's this gay guy from Indiana who's
Hmm.
running for president." And my initial reaction was, "Yeah, right, not gonna happen."
Yeah.
uh, and so I don't know why I was so dismissive of that. I mean, the thought of having a gay candidate is so um, monumental, right, for the
Hmm.
LGBTQ community. And
Hmm.
so having someone represent is a big deal. But for some
Hmm.
reason, I just felt like, yeah, yeah, right, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a leap of faith to
Hmm.
to to think that Pete could go all the way to the White House, but I guess a lot of us took that leap of faith because he
Hmm.
really spoke to to us personally, and then he kind of seemed to be the right candidate for the time after the Trump years.
Yeah.
He's basically the anti-Trump. So
Yeah.
he's he's Midwestern. He's gay, openly gay, married to Chasten, who
Hmm.
we all love.
Hmm.
He served in the military. He's he's about as smart as you can get, I think,
Hmm.
and also has that Midwestern humility and authenticity. That
Yeah.
everything that's the complete opposite of, yeah, Trump, pretty much. So,
Right.
um, so that I think that was a big draw to a lot of people, and also that he, yeah, and he spoke, to in terms of to us personally of his journey, being a gay man and then coming out, after
Hmm.
his struggles and all that. So I think a lot of us, yeah, can definitely understand where he came from.
Yeah.
And it's very brave of him to do it, and to jump onto the national stage and tell his story. And that was part of a lot of people. A lot of us admired him for it.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think when the first time that I heard him talk, somehow I stumbled upon a video of his on YouTube, and he was doing a town hall meeting in Chicago. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
a Chicago news station that was showing it, and just listening to him, the way he answered the
Mm-hmm.
questions, and just very, very intelligent,
Mm-hmm.
humble, and
Mm-hmm.
just I felt his authenticity come through, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a sense of like kindness about him that
Mm-hmm.
just radiates in his answers to
Mm-hmm.
people, and I think it really resonated with my heart and soul. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
who is this guy? And so I kind of went down that YouTube
Mm-hmm.
rabbit hole like everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
and pretty
Yep.
much looked for any and all interviews of his that I could watch.
Yeah. So exactly. So I was following the campaign on Twitter, and then somebody posted the link to the CNN town hall in Austin. I
Hmm.
think it was South by Southwest. In Boston, where he did a town hall hosted by Anderson Cooper, I think it was, or
Hmm.
um, and then yeah, and it's just like we're like, who is this man, and
Yeah.
how come I've never heard of him? And he
Right.
is like incredible. I mean, the way he spoke to people, and the way um, where politics is about the politics of destruction, he's the opposite. He wants to
Right.
inspire people and bring them together,
Hmm.
and bridge, the political divide. But he is, still stand true to his values, right? So,
Hmm.
which are pretty progressive, right, values. So
Yeah.
it's a very different way to deliver the message, and yeah, it's great. And then yeah, and then I found out all the YouTube videos of him, and of his book tour,
Oh
and
yeah. Yeah.
then he spoke very well about his book, and
Hmm.
there was a few videos about that. So and then yeah, and then I signed up for the campaign, and then April 14th is pretty much changed the political world from my point of view when he launched his campaign in South Bend, right? So,
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think the next thing I did was read his book, and that was pretty inspiring. And his journey of self discovery and coming out, and
mm-hmm.
I thought that was extremely inspirational. And I think that it was really good that he came out during his mayoral run, because
Mm-hmm.
I think that when you're in the public eye like that,
Mm-hmm.
you can't just be in the closet, and you have to be authentic as to who you are, and I think that
Mm-hmm.
just makes you um, a better person and a better
Mm-hmm.
leader, because you're
Mm-hmm.
just being yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and I found that to be very refreshing.
Yeah, and I mean, like President Obama, was a relative unknown politician when he
Mm-hmm.
ran for president, even though he was a senator. He was a junior senator from Illinois. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, he got a lot of national attention. And then he just went for it. So, from Mayor Pete's point of view, what do you have to lose, right? And
Mm-hmm.
if the moment is right and you can put together a campaign, which he did with
Yeah.
Liz and and all the great people he surrounded himself with, and it just took off like a rocket. I mean, none of us could believe how fast that campaign,
Mm-hmm.
um, took off.
Yeah.
He raised the most money of all the candidates in the first quarter of
Mm-hmm.
fundraising, which
Mm-hmm.
was like $27 million of fundraising. It was
Yeah.
astounding what he accomplished. It was so fast
Yeah.
because because he message resonated.
Mm-hmm.
People were drawn to him. So
Yeah, and it was the first time that I ever donated to a political campaign too, and
hmm
I absolutely hate bumper stickers, but I
hmm
got his bumper sticker and stuck it on my car.
hmm
And I bought his coffee mug, his T-shirts, and anything and everything under the
hmm
sun, right?
yeah. Well, I mean,
And
I've donated to Hillary. I've donated to Obama.
mhm.
But I literally put all my chips on Pete. Like literally went all in.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then
That's
we
good.
started campaigning across the country for him, and
Yeah.
became known as the Barnstormers for Pete, and it was a wild ride for a whole year, while till after the Iowa caucuses. But that was incredible.
Yeah. And so I'm pretty sure that you met him many, many times on your journey, right?
Yes, I met him about yes almost every campaign event that I went to. Yeah, because we were the volunteers
Hmm.
to help put on the campaign events. Like I went to Iowa 4 times, and I met you in Reno,
Hmm.
right at the Women's March. I think we met,
Hmm.
and then I crisscrossed the country with the Barnstormer. So I went to New Hampshire, South Carolina, you name it, like pretty much all the early caucus and primary states we went to help Pete. Yeah, so
Wow.
it was it was incredible. Took me to a lot of parts of the country that was great.
Mm. That you
Uh,
normally wouldn't go to?
no, no, Des Moines, Iowa was not on my list of places to visit, but very charming, beautiful
Hmm.
city.
Hmm.
Will always have a special place in our hearts. Because we were there the night he won the Iowa caucuses, even though
Yeah.
the tabulations were a few days late, and it really messed up the momentum of the campaign. But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's what can you do?
Yeah. So how many events did you actually go to in total? Did you count?
I think I volunteered in total for about roughly 30 or
Oh my
more,
God.
30 or more. It's about more than 30 campaign events. Even well, actually, including the ones in California, I would say probably about 40 to 50,
Oh wow.
because he did
Goodness.
a lot of events, and we volunteered for all the fundraisers in California up and down the coast,
Hmm.
like from San Francisco down to San Diego.
Hmm.
Obviously, he came to Hollywood, to LA, multiple times, because
Hmm.
every Democratic candidate does. That's basically the best place for them to fundraise. So including all the fundraisers and the and other events. As we went to a lot of events. Yeah.
Wow, that is a lot of events. So were you working full time and doing that like on the weekends?
Pretty much for pretty
Wow.
much 14 months. Yes, we almost every weekend. I was on the road
Oh wow.
as a volunteer. Yeah,
Wow. That's amazing.
and then I met up with a great group of people who crisscrossed the country for Pete. So
Hmm.
it was a struggle. So time commitment wise, but yeah,
Hmm.
but you know it worked. And a lot of his campaign events in California in the evening anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
just an after work event that you know we can
Mm-hmm.
go and help out on and stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a it was a very exciting time to be with a candidate running for president on the ground because you have such close access to the campaign staff, to the candidate,
Mm-hmm.
to the people who are coming to check out the candidates, and you can talk to them, and you can feel the energy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's been incredible. Yeah, it was an incredible campaign. I'm sure you felt it, obviously too.
Yeah, I did, and I think it was after July 4th, or it was a July 4th event that somebody
Mm-hmm.
posted on YouTube, and I got to see it. Um, and that was when I said to myself, I have to meet this guy. I have to
Mm-hmm.
meet him and shake his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I didn't know how I was going to meet him. And then somehow in one of the Facebook groups, somebody posted his upcoming fundraising events.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at it, and there was actually one right in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
And the price was $2,000 a person. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought, no. I like you, Pete, but I don't think I can invest that kind of money. And so I was pretty disappointed. And then like a day or so later, I looked at the schedule again, and then I saw that, oh, there's one in LA. And I thought,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, it's LA's not too far to drive or fly. And then I think the minimum was like $500, and I said,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that's more doable. And so I had to talked to Mary, and it's like, oh, he's going to be down in LA. And she was actually
Mm-hmm.
going to be down in San Diego um, to visit her family, like around that same time. And I said, oh, why don't we drive down there, change your flight? Because she was actually going to fly down there the weekend before. I said, change your flight. And then we can drive down there, um,
Mm-hmm.
go to the fundraiser, and then after that we can go visit your family afterwards. And so somehow along the way it all fell into place, and I got the ticket. And I think at the time when I actually purchased the ticket and I got the confirmation, I literally cried because I was so happy. And yeah, and then just meeting him in person was so surreal. And
Yeah.
I think Mary was more nervous than I was. And I remember she was standing and talking to him, shaking his hand, and I don't even remember what she said. Something Obama. And then I don't even remember
Yeah.
like what
Was it at a
happened.
private home, the event you went to?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was at
I think you mentioned
some
it to me. Yeah.
somewhere in West Hollywood, I think.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
yeah, that was a great event. I went to one of his first ever fundraisers at the Abbey
Mm,
bar in West Hollywood, and then
mm-hmm,
Chaston was there, and
mm-hmm,
it was a really, really great event. That was like, I think it was in May, early May 2019, just after he announced.
mm-hmm,
So he did a fundraising tour to the West Coast, and that was, yeah, one of their first ever public fundraisers that were open to the public. So
mm-hmm.
yeah, it was incredible. Obviously, there was like a sold out event, and the energy was incredible. That's when I was like, wow, this guy is the real thing. It's not just like a
Mm-hmm.
social
Yeah.
media, like phenomenon or something. He was the real deal, and
Mm-hmm.
he could go somewhere. And then that's when I got hooked on I bought the ticket on the P train and never looked back for 14 months. And the train kept going faster every week. The campaign just kept growing and growing, and it all led up to Iowa, and
Mm-hmm.
that was incredible. Yeah, I mean, it's an experience that anybody who's even remotely interested in politics should, I mean, to experience the campaign on the ground level is incredible. Like presidential politics is special. It's not like nothing else.
Yeah, and so I know there was a documentary of his campaign, which I'm
Yeah,
sure you saw, and a
yeah.
lot of the behind the scenes and stuff. I'm sure that was part of what you experienced too. Yeah.
Yes, more or less in terms of
Mm-hmm.
the campaign events and stuff. Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
we weren't really in his inner circle of the staff. But
Yeah.
yeah, but out of it, we were like little. Yeah, we were there at almost every step of the campaign. It was a
Mm-hmm.
very well done documentary, Mayor Pete, that was on Amazon. Yeah, we
Yeah.
group of the Barnstormers. We met up in New York for the premiere at the Gay and Lesbian Film Festival. I
Mm-hmm.
think it was it was the premiere event. It was really nice, and the director came and all that.
Mm.
So
That's
yeah, that was
really
is a
cool.
great documentary. It really captured the the campaign and how and Pete, and then of course Chasten kind of stole the show. He's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that
They're great.
he sort of brings a certain balance to Pete,
Hmm.
which I thought was really nice.
A light touch to the more serious Pete.
Yeah, yeah, and kind of grounded him, really.
Yeah. And a great sense of
Yeah.
humor. Chasten
Mhm.
is just
Mhm.
he just brings a lot of fun and energy, and also, he is very serious about the LGBTQ issues, and
Right, right.
really young people, and
Mhm.
he's a teacher, so
Mhm.
he brings that perspective. Yeah,
Yeah, he's a great advocate, especially
right.
on social media, and I've seen some of his posts that people share.
Yeah,
It's
we all love his clapbacks on social media.
yeah, I mean that's the nice thing about the two of them is that they voice their opinion, but not in a mean way, and
No,
they
exactly.
say things in a way that makes you just really listen, and not so
Hmm.
much as um, just
They're not preachy.
yeah, they're
And
not
they're not,
preachy, and they're not
they're
saying
not
it.
angry. They
Mm-hmm.
just make the
Mm-hmm.
point very reasonably and
Right, right,
logically, and
right.
try to make the point. Yeah, that something
Yeah.
is wrong. You just call it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
It's,
what did your family think about all the stuff that you did with Pete's campaign? Were they kind of surprised that that you were kind of
they,
running all over the country for this
they
guy?
think it was all a waste of money. They say, "You're spending all this money traveling the country for who?" But my family is definitely not involved in politics.
Mm,
They hear it on the news, the
mm-hmm,
6 o'clock news, and they turn it off. Yeah.
mm,
They vote. I mean, they live pretty much. Most of them are Canadians, but they
mm-hmm,
vote in elections. But yeah,
mm-hmm.
but then none of them would ever like volunteer for a campaign. But so they thought it was, oh, okay. You're going where? Iowa? For who? Mayor what? So they're definitely intrigued by all my travels and
Yeah.
but I think when as they got to know Pete and hear more about him,
Mm-hmm,
yeah, they all really liked him.
mm,
Most of my friends and family, even if they're not involved, they said, "Wow, he sounds like a really great guy. Hope he goes far."
mm.
Uh, but I think like most of the population, most of them, he doesn't have a chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think most of us who believe in Pete and the campaign, we always knew that it was a long shot, and he was the
Mm-hmm,
first one to admit it, right?
mm-hmm.
But hey, it's
Yeah.
if you don't try, you never know, right? So,
Right. Right.
and nobody could have predicted that he would go from, yeah, go
Mm-hmm,
straight to winning the Iowa caucus, and it wasn't for all the mess and the caucus count, he may
mm-hmm.
have won New Hampshire, and then you never know what
Yeah.
happens after that, right? So it's a lot of
Yeah.
what if in the
Yeah.
campaign, right?
Yeah.
But I'm glad that President Biden is where he is, and he's a great president, and he beat Trump, which was the most important thing
Right.
of all things to consider. Is there somebody that could beat Trump, and we did, and
Mm-hmm.
so we beat him again in 24. We have to. I don't think we have a choice.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that we don't have to deal with him anymore, but
I don't think
that's
he's going away anywhere. His ego is just too big to leave it as it is. He's gonna. I think he's gonna make another run at it.
well, I'm hoping that he will be indicted before that even happens. So, um,
Well, that's the problem. He thinks that if he runs, he won't be indicted because then it'll be too politicized. So
mm,
by the fact of running, he thinks it will keep him out of jail. So who knows if that works or not? But in his mind, I think that's his calling. That's his card, get out of jail card, is
mm,
to run again for president.
hmm.
And of course, all the Trumpers will believe anything he says. So it really
Right.
matters.
Yeah. Well,
The cult will live on.
yes, it will.
The cult of Trump.
Well, my hope is that we don't have to see him again.
Yes, for all our sakes, for the country's.
Yes, for the country's sake.
Exactly. But yeah, so it's no, it's been great, and all the Pete friends that we've made along the way, it's been incredible. Right?
Yeah.
Another aspect.
Would you say that that is kind of the best part of the volunteering is the people that you've met?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
Mm.
I think the candidate kind of sets the tone for the campaign and the staff and the volunteers. And so I mean,
Yeah.
it's the people who are involved in this campaign are just great people from top to bottom, and all the volunteers I met and the barnstormers where we traveled the country together. It's been all incredible. Yeah, some of them are like great friends of mine now, and we'll be involved in many other campaigns and Pete campaign whenever he decides to run for office again. So
Mm-hmm.
it we're ready to go. We'll be ready to go, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think that's the one great thing that came out of all of this is that the people who volunteered for him are now continuing on to provide boots on the ground for other candidates
Mm-hmm.
in the down ballot races, and
All
I
right.
think that's so important. I mean, it's not just the presidential race that's
All right.
important. It's the state legislatures, the people
All
who are
right.
put in local
Yep.
office. That's important
Yep.
because they're the
Yeah.
ones that make decisions that actually affect our lives every day. So
Yep. No,
yeah.
for sure. Yeah. Local politics, Senate, House.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything now.
State legislatures, that's
Secretaries
extremely
of
important.
State. Yeah.
Yeah.
Secretaries of State, where they're trying
Mm-hmm.
to literally overturn the election results.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. I mean, it
Yeah.
all.
That's the scary part, isn't it? I mean, you have all these people denying the election results and they're running for positions that are,
Well, only when they lose. When they win, then the
yeah,
count is right. But when they lose, then there has to be fraud. It's an
yeah,
interesting way to look at election.
yeah, exactly.
So you don't accept when you lose, but when you win, then of course it's
Mm-hmm.
right
Mm-hmm.
because it's somehow a God-given right that they win elections.
Right. Yeah.
It's insane. It's just insanity, like Pete says. It's just insanity.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the logic of it all just does not even make any sense because they're all on the same ballot. So
Mm-hmm.
how is it that one candidate won, the Senate and Trump
Because
lost?
that's because they're sore losers and they can't accept the fact that they lost.
Yeah.
And Al Gore accepted the fact that he lost, even though he probably didn't lose, and
Yeah.
he thought about country before himself.
Mm-hmm.
So, but these people are just a different breed of altogether. They're all in it all for themselves.
Yeah.
Power, I guess, power is the be all and end all.
Yeah. Pretty much hanging on to power and doing whatever it takes to maintain that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Scary world we live in.
It is, and there's just so much of the us versus them mentality, um, that it's really frightening. And I feel like,
Hmm.
if Pete would be the perfect candidate in 2024 because he's so, um, I don't know, just his personality and the way that he can bring people together.
Hmm.
I mean, we all saw
Yeah.
that, during his campaign, and how,
Hmm.
getting people to really stop hating each other and start listening to
Hmm.
each other, and
Yeah,
finding common
exactly.
ground. And yeah, we can agree to
Thank you.
disagree on politics, but really, at the end of the day, we're all human beings, right? And respecting
Hmm.
each other and our different opinions is what's important.
Yeah, no, for sure. And give people a sense of belonging, right? That's one of his
Hmm.
rules of the road.
Yeah, I love his rules of the road.
That's really,
That
yeah.
is the best standard. I think it's really the gold standard for all future campaigns to live by.
It is. I mean, it was incredible that they had these rules of the road and they follow them every day. So
Hmm.
and and now everyone um, try to honor that, and
Yeah.
it really shows up in the platform of his campaign. So yeah,
Hmm.
and the behavior of the campaign, and it was great
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
have a
Sometimes,
positive campaign that run that way. Yeah.
yeah. And sometimes even now I find myself, okay, what would Pete do in this, or what would Pete say in this situation? And
Exactly.
I'm always amazed whenever he goes on like Fox News or something, and does an interview, and these people are just kind of provoking him, and I feel irritated for him, but he just seems so calm and zen, and I'm just like, how do you do it? It's just really amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's got the right answer and he knows how to speak without being confrontational.
Yeah, yeah, that's one of his best qualities.
It is calm, cool, and calm under pressure.
Cool and calm.
Always.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that part in his documentary where, I think Chaston was saying something about, like, why are you always so calm, or something like that? And it's like, yeah, that he's always calm.
Yeah, but he
Yeah.
said that I have to keep calm, otherwise I'm gonna just explode because there's or something like that. So there's just so much pressure from everywhere.
Yeah.
You learn to be calm so you can deal with it. So
Hmm.
which is probably true.
Yeah. But he definitely takes it to a new level, though. I don't know how he does it.
Very, yeah, he's great. But
Yeah.
yeah, so we'll see where the Pete goes next after the Secretary of Transportation.
How did you feel when he was nominated as Secretary of Transportation?
Um, so I thought that it was great that President Biden chose Pete to join the cabinet. It's
Hmm.
obviously a big, it's a big job.
Hmm.
And if anybody who, though he was his experience as mayor, definitely, has dealt with a lot of issues with transportation and
Yeah.
equity and dealing with them. So I mean, it's yeah, I think it was a great position for him to be in the cabinet as a cabinet member.
Hmm.
Um, after the campaign ended and he's no longer mayor, it's kind of where do you go from there, right? So,
Hmm.
um, but I think it's great that he wants to be of. Pete always says he wants to be of service and do good for the country. So
Yeah.
whatever is the right position for him, he will do his best. And he's been a great Secretary of Transportation and
Yeah.
implementing the infrastructure plan and traveling around the country and meeting people. And I think that's also that's in the end it will, or whatever his future ambition is going to benefit him too, right?
Hmm.
To
Yeah.
have to be helping the president and to help to be involved every day in the cabinet. That's pretty much the highest level of government you can get, is to be in the president's cabinet, right? So
Yeah.
without being the VP or the president. So I
Yeah.
think for him, it was a great opportunity, and I'm glad he took it, and I'm glad he's doing a great job with it. So it's
Yeah, I think initially I was a little surprised because I thought transportation, what the heck? And then I realized,
it's kind of obscure, but I mean,
yeah,
but you know that Pete is gonna make the best transportation secretary in the history of the country, right?
yeah. And
And
then,
make
but
impact.
the more that I learned about the position and what it's all about, and then later on, of course, hearing about the infrastructure plans that Biden has to build back
Hmm.
better and all that stuff, and I thought, okay, wow, this is really great because that's the focal point of his campaign. Biden's campaign
Hmm.
is rebuilding America, and now Pete gets
Hmm.
to be the center of that. It's like
Yeah.
he's playing a critical role. And I thought, oh,
Hmm.
okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, a
And
good role that align with his interests somewhat and
yeah,
his experience. And if you, I mean, the transportation department is probably one of the largest departments, right, in terms of
hmm,
the people getting involved. Because you have the FAA,
yeah,
all the transportation and then implementing, all the transportation project and funding. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty big job. I mean, it's
yeah,
only low profile because there's most of the transportation secretaries have not been very memorable, or probably have,
yeah,
it's kind of like not really make an impact, right? But
right.
we know Pete's not going to let that happen, right? So,
Hmm.
and I think the infrastructure bill especially brings a lot of highlight to the job, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but I think, no, I think he sees it too. I mean, it's not like some second tier job where you just offer because but I think President Biden know that he would make a really great Secretary of Transportation, and with
yeah.
the infrastructure plan he was planning on his agenda,
Hmm.
it's a lot for to have somebody like Pete to help implement that, right? So,
Yeah, yeah, and he's doing a lot in that role right now. So, and you
yeah,
can tell
and I mean
he cares a
exactly.
lot. He cares a lot about making a
All
difference
right.
within
Yeah. So I
communities.
mean,
So,
there's only so many options in politics, right? You go from a mayor of a city. So what do you do next? You run for governor. You run for state legislature. You run for the House or the Senate. I mean,
hmm,
so it's being in Indiana, which is a very red state. There's
hmm,
not a lot of options on the table, right?
hmm,
Uh, but to jump from mayor of South Bend into the president's cabinet, I don't know how anybody could say no to that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, but so, and anybody who and Pete knows that he's gonna do an amazing job at it. So
hmm,
why not, right? And
yeah,
I think it's great, and it's only a stepping stone to something hopefully bigger down the road. We'll see, right? We're all
yeah,
hoping.
yeah. We're all hoping, because he's definitely doing a great job, and I can already I'm already seeing him. His hair is graying.
Mhm.
That means he's working too
Well,
hard.
I don't know if that's because of the twins or because of the job. So, um, trying to have a full-time job, going around country, and having newborn twins is, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure yeah, I think that's a lot to take on.
it is. It's a lot, and
But
I don't think he
that's the other thing
sleeps.
that is great that they have the twins. Right.
Yeah.
I just saw a picture today on Instagram that Justin posted. It's awesome.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I saw that too of Pete holding one of the babies.
One of the two babies, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's great. Gus
yeah.
and Gus or Penny, I don't know which one.
Gus or Penny. Yeah, one of those.
No, yeah, they make a beautiful family, and
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Where do
So
you think Pete's gonna go next?
I don't know, but I'm hoping to the White House. We can dream, right?
Yeah, we
So
can.
so let's say he runs and he wins. What
Well, let's
it,
say that President Biden doesn't run for some reason, and then it'll be an open primary, right? Yep.
right.
Yep. Or if President Biden does run again and win in 2028, there'll be open primary. So there's a for a 40-year-old you know can aspiring presidential candidate, there's a lot of opportunities
Yeah.
in to run. Just doesn't have to be a particular year. Just have to find the right window of time. But he's built a huge, national following, and
Mm-hmm.
he has the staff, the volunteers. So I mean, it's yeah, it will be hopefully it'll be easier the second time around when he decides to run. So we'll all be there, right? So
Yeah. I'm hoping it's sooner rather than later, but that's
yeah, I
just
think the
me.
country needs him. Somebody, a candidate like him. I think he'll do so much
Yeah.
good for the country.
Yeah. So let's say we're in our little dreamland and he runs and he wins and his becomes president. What issues would you want him to tackle?
Oh, voting rights and democracy.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, the first thing you have to tackle to
Yeah.
protect voting rights and
Yeah.
get rid of the electoral college, get rid of all the gerrymandering. You
Mm-hmm.
have to rebalance and make sure democracy works.
Yeah.
Just that's the number one. Without that, then everything else is at
Mm-hmm.
risk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the gerrymandering is on a state level, right? So that's
Uh,
why voting for state legislatures is so important. Um, Voting for
True,
the right one.
but the Voting Rights Act had a lot of protections in the southern state against all that.
Yeah.
It's been gutted by the Supreme Court, so
Yep.
that's and then getting dark money out of politics, and it all
Mm-hmm.
ties together. But yes, that has to be probably the number one thing that he has to do,
Yeah.
among a million other things like every president. But we'll see.
Yeah. It's ironic that we're talking on July 4th today, and I feel like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the rights and freedoms that we've recently
Mm-hmm.
experienced is now stripped away.
Yeah, and he had a plan to reform the Supreme Court. It can't like it was like more timely than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like we cannot let this right wing Supreme Court, um, you know, turn the country upside down.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's
yeah,
why
I mean it's
elections matter and who you put in the White House matters. And so, I mean, just look at
exactly
the three seats that Trump got,
well,
one of which he
one of which
stole,
was stolen from Obama, correct?
right?
So yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean
Yeah.
it's just unbelievable that the lengths these people will go to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean at some point you just gotta fight back. You just can't take it.
Yeah.
It can't be a one-sided fight. You have to fight back. You have to do institutional reform.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pete said in an interview lately that this country has lost the muscle memory of how to do institutional reform. It used to be done when necessary, right, to make things
Yeah.
better.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody we just don't know how to do it, and the politicians are mostly cowards who just don't want to do it, who just don't
Mm-hmm.
want to do it. So,
Yeah.
so somebody's got to step up and do it. And
Yeah.
he's not afraid to do it. I mean, he suggested the Supreme Court reform, and then he made a lot of bold suggestions on the campaign. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just his Douglas plan alone was pretty remarkable in terms of
Mm-hmm.
criminal justice reform
Mm-hmm.
and all that. I think that if he gets in the White House and is able to have a House and a Senate
Yep.
that would help him,
Mm-hmm.
he can definitely change the system and make everything better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. Get rid of the filibuster. No more minority control of the Senate. It's time to get rid of all these obstructionist policies that it's not representative democracy. So
No,
we need to start.
The system
Yeah,
is failing us.
exactly. And Pete rightly has a lot of the solutions that he proposed. It may not be the perfect solution, but it definitely is a lot better than what we have today.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people didn't take him seriously when he first ran, but a lot of the things he said are, is exactly right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now everybody is screaming, we have to reform the Supreme Court. But it's he would make a great president, like you said, sooner or later. But we'll see. I don't count on anything when it comes to politics. Things change so much day by day.
Yeah.
We'll have to see where things end up.
Well, we can all dream, right?
Yeah, no, we work very hard for our dream. Yeah. We work very hard to make the dream come true in 2019 and 2020. So we'll do it again.
Right. And miracles do happen. So Trump got defeated. So that's one miracle.
Yeah, I mean like I said, it's the right candidate for the right time. So
yeah.
President Obama was the right candidate at the right time after George Bush, and then Pete will be the candidate at the right time and he'll know it. So he's smart enough to know when the time is. So he already built a great campaign the first time he ran. So the second time, people won't be asking who's Pete Buttigieg the second time around.
I know. I love that he's getting all this national and international attention as well in his position. So it only bodes well for his future.
Yeah. I mean, his intellect, he's so well spoken. I mean, he's not afraid of any interviewer or any interview. He's
so prepared.
Yeah. He's a great voice for the Biden administration and for Democrats. So it's great to have him on.
Yeah, I wish that he could also be the press secretary and be the voice every day. But I know he has a job to do.
He would make, exactly. He's got a serious job to do, yes.
Yeah.
And and I loved Jen Psaki. I think she was probably one of the best press secretaries. And but I think she's moved on now. But we'll see.
Yeah. So this is a hypothetical question, but if you could work for Pete in the White House when he's president, and assuming that you're qualified for the position, what position would you want?
That's I'm not qualified to be a dog walker, so that's out. Nor am I qualified to be a babysitter, so that's out. I'm kidding. Well, my background is in finance, so Secretary of the Treasury.
Okay, cool. All right, sounds good.
I can be ambassador to Canada, my home country.
There you go.
I would make a great ambassador for Pete.
There you go.
There you go. I'll have to send in my application.
We're assuming you're qualified, so you don't have to submit your resume.
Oh, okay. Then I'll self-appoint the ambassador to Canada.
Ambassador to Canada. All right. Sounds good.
I'm not too ambitious,
Uh,
obviously.
well, you gotta, as long as you're part of the team, right?
I literally will do anything Pete asks. Yeah, exactly. It will be an administration that I would be uh, honored to be working whatever capacity in. I did tell my parents that if Pete is in the White House, I am moving to DC and
Oh,
I will get a job doing whatever. It's
really?
it is, yes, of course.
Wow.
I mean, why wouldn't you want to be part of a historic administration? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, it has to be a challenging and rewarding position, whatever it is. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like, why wouldn't you? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's historic.
Mm.
It's gonna change the
Wow.
trajectory of the country. So
Yeah.
it's I'm there.
Wow.
Most of us would be, I would think. I guess the ones who are willing to do it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have a lot of my Pete friends who says the same thing. It's like, well,
Mm.
I will do whatever Pete asks to help him make him a successful president.
Well, now you're just sounding like a cult member.
No, I wouldn't say that. I say it's a true believer, but no. I mean, in terms of helping him as if you said hypothetically, if he won, so.
Yes, of course.
But I'm not gonna subvert election to make sure he wins. He has to
Right.
win. Where we have
Right.
to follow the rules of the road.
Of course.
So, no, I will not jump off a bridge for Pete. And because I know Pete will never ask that of any of his
Yes.
supporters or
Absolutely.
or anything like crazy like that. So it will be for a good cause and a good
Yes.
purpose. I'm sure whatever we do for Pete.
Yes.
So yeah, it's well, what would you do for Pete? I'll have to ask you then.
Gosh, I think I would want to be his chief of staff if I was qualified.
Oh, you would,
Um,
wouldn't you? You want to be in the middle of
I
the
want to
tornado.
be in the
You want to be the eye of
middle.
the tornado.
Yes,
And
yes, in the
everything
middle
runs.
of all the action and
That's a true job. So you're
all
not going
yeah,
to sleep for 4 years. So yes,
yes.
that's what a chief of staff is. No sleep. But
That's
that would
fine.
be a great
That's
job.
fine.
I used to love The West Wing, the show. So
Yeah,
yes,
me
chief
too.
of staff
Me
is
too.
the job. Yes, it is probably the toughest job next to the presidency.
Mm-hmm.
It is probably the toughest job.
Yeah, and I think
That would
that's
be great.
I mean that's you're kind of like almost a second president, really, right? Because from all the decision making that
You
person does
you
and
keep you
consulting.
keep the train running on time.
Yeah,
Otherwise, the
yeah,
presidency will be a failure.
yeah.
The chief of staff is
Right,
probably the most critical job
right, right,
next
right.
to the president.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
It
think
is.
more
Yes,
important than the vice president even.
you
Yeah.
probably is. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
the vice. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, and that's great.
Yes, I would want to be his
So
right hand.
you have to decide if I get a job or not because you're chief of staff. So,
That's right. I can veto you or not, right?
yeah, you can terminate me whenever at your leisure. Mhm.
Yeah.
And yeah, it will be a great day. I can imagine standing
Yeah.
on the mall on inauguration day for President Pete.
I'm sure you will be there, right?
Would get. I would have camped out there for a week already. So. among many other Pete
Oh my
supporters. Yes, but
Yeah.
no, it will be an incredible day whenever that happens.
Yes, I agree. I think I would want to be there for his inauguration, but I'm not sure.
Well, as the chief
Yeah.
of staff, you'll be running the inauguration, so you don't have to worry about that. You'll
That's
be
true.
you will
I
be
will be in the
you will
middle of
be
it all.
you will be yeah, you will be the one ushering him out onto the
That's right.
inauguration stage.
That's true.
And
Yes.
just remember to give me 2 tickets to the ball. Don't forget that.
All right. I got you down.
Since I'm one of your first podcasters.
There you go. Right?
I put my name on the inaugural ball list right now.
All right. I have you down.
Yeah, well, we can always dream. We'll see what happens. Politics is crazy right now, so
Yeah. Yeah. So let's hope that all goes well in November, because I can't imagine what would happen if the Republicans take over. I don't even want to think about it.
you can tell what happened. They'll try to impeach Biden, and every day we'll be hearing about made up controversies, and
Yeah.
they won't let anything pass. Yeah, it'll be, yeah. It will not be a good day if they win.
All right, on to something more positive. So, if there is one word you can use to describe Pete, what would it be? There's a lot of words you can use, but if you can pick one.
Authentic?
Okay, it's a good one. Yeah, he's definitely that.
Mm-hmm. He is.
Yeah, and then I think from authenticity comes a lot of other things, right? So
yes,
that's a good one.
Exactly.
I was talking to Nathan earlier today, and he used the word presidential, which I thought was really nice.
Yeah, he is actually.
Yeah.
President.
Yeah. When I think of Pete, I think of his kindness. I don't know. He's just a really, really good human being, you know?
Yeah.
Just
he is.
A really solid, kind human being. And there's really nothing you can dislike about him, really.
Yeah, and you can just tell that he really wants to do good and to be helpful to other human beings. Yes.
Yeah. Just wants to make this country better.
Yeah, exactly. And and that comes from authenticity, from good values, and knowing that he's there to do good, whatever capacity.
Yeah, and I think I would sleep a lot better at night, knowing that he's in charge.
Exactly. Having him in the White House, he knows that the country will be better off for sure. Yeah, definitely. Kindness is definitely a quality that makes him great too. Yes.
I mean, it's kind of a cliche right now in our society to say that we need more love and less hate, but it's really what we need right now. And I think he represents that so well.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of politicians now think fear and anger and hate, they try to stir it up because it helps their side.
Yeah.
Pete is the opposite. So, yeah. And you know what? It actually, sometimes it works, right? So,
yeah.
So that's why they keep doing it. But
yeah,
there's another path. So, and then, yeah, so I think somebody like Pete could really change the game.
Yeah, and it just feels like, it takes so much energy to be angry all the time. And when I see like all these people who, just are just so like, vengeful, and just listening to them makes me tired, And
yeah, and it's not only the people on the right, it's people on the left too.
Yeah.
And a lot of people try to tear Pete down because either they don't know who he is or they don't like what he stands for. But
Yeah.
you can try to build up your candidate without trying to tear down other people, especially you know, making false accusations and all
Yeah.
kinds of things. But that's where politics is. That's why it turns off so many people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know
Sure.
Pete, but I think Pete definitely realized that and tried to take politics out of the gutter.
Yeah, for sure. And whenever I listen to him or just talking to people who are on GP, you just feel so inspired, and everything you're doing is like really truly from the heart, and you want to help others. And I think we need more of that in politics.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what President Obama realized in 2008. After the fear and like after 9/11 and then the Bush campaign and Karl Rove, I mean, literally every campaign they ran was based on fear. And I think President Obama realized that no, you can run a campaign based on hope.
Right.
And and people were very drawn to it, right? So yeah, exactly. So it does work.
Yep.
You just have to find the right candidate to bring that message to the people.
Yeah, exactly.
There's somebody named Peter. Peter.
Yes, indeed.
I forgot what his middle name is. Peter. Something.
Peter
Buttigieg?
Paul Montgomery Buttigieg.
Oh wow, you have a great memory. That's right. Peter Paul Montgomery Buttigieg. That's right. That is the candidate. Yes.
Yes, that is.
You have to shorten it a bit. Mayor Pete. That's why it's so easy to call him Mayor Pete. Now Secretary Pete. We can't really call him Mayor Pete anymore. That's
right.
Now his Secretary Pete. It's just easier.
Yeah, that's right. So how did you feel when he ended his campaign?
I wasn't surprised. It was, I think, 2 days before the California primary, right? Well, after we were volunteering in South Carolina that Saturday, right? It was like the 29th of February, I believe.
No, I think it was a Sunday.
No, the Sunday was when he announced the end of the campaign. The Saturday was the primary day in South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So and then that night when the results came in, we were there in South Carolina, and of course President Biden won by a landslide. Obviously, that was all the polls already told us that. But yeah, so I think it was kind of like a night where everyone saw the writing on the wall. But I thought that he would have waited until after the California primary because it was such a big primary day. But strategically, I knew why he did what he did to help President Biden and consolidate support behind President Biden and show unity for the party. So I cried. And my friend Laura, we called each other. We both cried. But I remember sitting in the car with tears running down my cheek, and then we just said, well, it's we knew it was over. We just didn't know the timing of it.
Yeah.
But I think he did a great thing to help President Biden, and I think he did great service to the country. To consolidate support for President Biden and show, party unity before the California primary. So, and then obviously it worked out beautifully, and we won the White House, right? So, like I said, Pete is smart enough to realize, and he always will put country over himself.
I was extremely heartbroken, and I think that day I had tabled at the farmer's market, and then
Mm-hmm.
came home, and like I think it was like later in the evening when I heard the
Mm-hmm.
news, and then sat and watched his concession speech and
Mm-hmm.
cried the whole
The one he gave
time.
in South Bend, right? That
Yeah,
Chasten
yeah,
introduced him. Yeah,
yeah.
that was
Like
incredible.
that
I
was.
cried. I cried again. That was like the 5th time that I cried that day. But obviously, it all turned out really well.
Yeah.
President Biden won the White House. VP Harris,
Mm-hmm.
Secretary Pete, and here we are. But he will be president someday, so
Yes,
it's not all off.
he will. He will
It was
be.
just a temporary pause
Yes.
on the way to the White House.
Indeed.
A temporary detour.
Yeah. There you go. A detour.
But yeah, but it's there'll be a time where
Yeah.
he will be the man and sitting behind the Oval desk.
Yeah. Can't wait.
We all hope. We all hope.
Yes. All right. So let's end on that good note.
Yes.
And
President Pete, the
President
year
Pete, yes.
20-something.
Hopefully 24.
We don't know which. Yeah, 20-something. Yeah. Let's call it the year 20-something. We don't know yet.
There you go.
We'll see. We'll have lots of shirts to commemorate.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'll call you Chief of Staff next time we see each other.
All right, sounds good.
Chief of Staff Kim. Go.
Ambassador Mike, right?
Yes. Hey, that has a really nice ring to it.
Yeah, I think so too. Ambassador Mike.
That will be great. Yes.
All right.
I'll do the best I can to keep the Canadians happy.
There you go. You keep the Americans happy too.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, thank you,
Thanks,
Mike.
Kim.
And appreciate. Yeah, nice chat. And
we'll catch up in the Bay Area next
time. Yeah, absolutely.
If you've enjoyed this conversation, please be sure to subscribe so this channel can grow and I'll be able to share more stories with you each week. Thank you for listening.